I talked about it on my show, but you and I were talking about it earlier that the city of San Francisco has a managed alcohol program where they will give out beer and vodka to homeless alcoholics that they can come and get any time of the day, 24 hours in hotel lobbies, where they walk in, they are given either they can choose a vodka or a beer. They get a shot, they get a beer. Once they've consumed it, they can get another one and they can just keep doing that under the premise that they're less likely to go to a hospital if they're under the observation of someone observing them get drunk rather than running off and having uncontrolled alcohol, which at the end of the day, there are reports that they've given out 17 shots of vodka in a single night to a homeless person. And this is like a $5 to $10 million a year program for the city of San Francisco. I pulled all the 490 forms for those nonprofits and tracked down where all the funding went. And it's basically a network of NGOs or nonprofits in the city where people that work there are making, pretty decent wages doing this as a business, which goes back to the point. This is another, and it doesn't mean to be negative about all nonprofits, just to be clear, because I support some nonprofits that have good work. So I don't like the label of the nonprofit being bad, but there are structures, organizations that have assembled that have identified a way to get capital and to then use that capital for their own benefit.
And one of the things that has certainly happened in the US, I don't know even what fraction of nonprofits are good versus evil, but I do think that in San Francisco, the homeless industrial complex budgets are up and to the right. In 2020 passed like 1.1 billion a year cash as a homeless population goes up.
So crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Right? No, the whole thing is just, it's so obvious. The more money you distribute through this network, the more the homeless population will swell.
Exactly.
And the less you're going to solve.
That's right.
There's no natural market force to solve the problem in that sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
So these guys are the Feed the Pigeon Society, in a sense. I call them, they're because look at all these pigeons. Yeah. We need to feed more pigeons, right? Yeah. But really, it's even worse than that because they're Democrat drug dealers. Let me explain. They are securing the real estate, the quote, safe injection sites. They're handling the supply chain, which is handing out the syringes. They're doing all the legal work with the various legal clinics. They're basically they're putting up the billboards, which are like the no overdose billboards that say snort or smoke crack, literally billboards that say to snort or smoke crack. We can put that on screen rather than to, they literally tell people to do drugs, right? And they do all this with the attitude that you mentioned with the managed alcohol program, which is like a faux wise, oh, boys will be boys. You don't understand. We can't just tell them to have no alcohol. They're going to do it regardless of us. So let's enable it and do it in a safe amount of, this is like the handing out of Narcan or whatever, right? And so what's really happening is they are McKinsey for MS-13.
Yeah.
Right.